Hi everyone, this is Manik. I'm the Senior Product Manager for AEM Guides. I've been associated with this product for close to 3 years now, and it is my endeavor to improve the user experience for our customers each day, every day.
Hi everyone, I'm Vinod Gupta. I lead the engineering function for AEM Guides. I'm associated with Adobe for around 3 years now. My primary goal is to turn all the headwinds into tailwind, drive innovation, and collaborate for the customer success.
So basically, we both are partners in crime, and we thrive hard to make the journey of our customers on our product much more meaningful. So, with that, let's move to the agenda for today's session. So, in today's session, we would be covering the current work management process for our customers, how the users come to our platform, manage their work effectively, and we'll also understand what are some of the challenges which they face in today's work management process. We'll then learn what are the solutions to the challenges which we would have discussed and how this integration, which we are going to talk about between AEM Guides and Adobe Workfront, is going to solve the challenges which we would have discussed. We'll be digging deep into the integration details as well, and Vinod would be covering some of the high level architectural detail of this integration. We would then be doing a live demo of this integration for you to understand how this integration is actually going to help you solve the challenges pertaining to work management processes. We would finally be summarizing the benefits and see how this integration is actually going to be helpful for you. Moving on to the current work management process. If we talk about the current work management process, we would be focusing on a couple of personas today. First one being the project manager persona, and second persona would be the document professionals. Document professionals are actually the core workers with the content. They can be content authors, they can also be content reviewers, they can be translation managers, and they can also be content publishers. If we talk about the project managers, their primary responsibility is to ensure the end-to-end delivery of the project in a timely fashion. So what they do is they plan and allocate their work for the team members, and for that they use many non-integrated tools. Like sometimes they use Excel in order to allocate work to their team members. Sometimes they also rely on email communications. They also rely on tools such as Jira, and sometimes the allocation also happens via telephonic communications or through scrums. So you can see that the overall allocation process is currently not the most streamlined, and there are some challenges which project managers actually face in this. Once the work is allocated to the document professionals, they also collaborate amongst themselves. So let's say there's an author, and let's say he or she is working on a content piece. And if they want another author to contribute into that content piece, they also have to collaborate with another author, right? So for that also, they allocate the work piece or the content piece via these non-integrated tools, which I've already talked about. Now, once the content has been completed, it could be authored, it could have been reviewed, then these document professionals also have to update the status to their project managers. These status updates can be in a timely fashion, and it can also be status updates towards the end of the task. So for updating the status as well, these document professionals again have to rely on non-integrated tools like Excel. So a lot of times the document professionals open some Excel sheets, update the status, and then the project managers finally sees the status of the task which he had allocated to multiple document professionals. So the project managers track the activities involved in a project also using the non-integrated tools which are used by any organization. So you can see there are a lot of inefficiencies in the system due to the use of various non-integrated tools for the purpose of planning, allocation, work accomplishment, and even work tracking. So if we talk about some of the challenges, and if we focus on some of the challenges which we often hear from the project managers often say that due to the use of these non-integrated tools, there are often delays associated with the project deliveries. Since they are responsible to ensure the end-to-end delivery of the project in a timely fashion, it often leads to a lot of hiccups, and they are often answerable to the higher management that why their projects are getting delivered late. Often the project delivery cost also shoots up, and that is also primarily due to the use of these non-integrated tools and delays associated with those projects. Resource planning is also often very difficult, since the project managers are not having a clear indication of what is the bandwidth available for their team members, because there is no integrated tool in order for them to know what is the available bandwidth and how much of the work they can allocate to the team members. So this resource planning is overall very difficult for project managers. A lot of times the collaboration between the project managers and the document professionals, as I've already explained, is done in various non-integrated tools. So a lot of time these communications are lost in email inboxes, or they simply get lost in transit, right? So that is another problem which we often hear from the project managers. The next thing is that the audit trail of the work is also very inefficient right now. So let's say there is a project manager who wants to see what aspects of the work was done by whom and when. So if they want to see the audit trail of the entire activity of the project, it is very difficult to know right now. It is also true for some of the other stakeholders who want to, let's say, come and visit the audit of what all happened with the projects. It is almost impossible to in the current scheme of things. So these are some of the challenges which we often come across from the project manager personas. Moving on to the document professionals. If we talk about the document professionals, they often say that it is very difficult for them to keep track of their work. So let's say the project managers or their leads allocate them work. So a lot of work is coming from different sources. Sometimes it is coming from Excel. Sometimes they also have to uh, cull the emails and see what work they have to do by going into their inboxes. So it is very difficult to keep track of their work, and it also often leads to inefficiencies, and their work in turn gets impacted. The second thing is, as I've already mentioned in the previous slide, that the document professionals also allocate work among themselves. So let's say an author is allocating some work to a reviewer or to a co-author. This work allocation for document professionals is also very challenging right now. Thirdly, the collaboration between the project managers and document professionals is not very smooth right now, and this is due to the inefficient work management process, which I talked about in the previous slide. Lastly, and it is one of the most important challenge which we often hear from document professionals, is that there is frequent context switching happening between AEM guides and other tools like Jira and Excel. So when the context switching is quite a lot, they are not able to focus on the core work which the document professionals are supposed to do. And a lot of time is getting spent on actually switching the context between one tool to another. So these are some of the challenges which we often hear from project managers and document professionals. So Vinod, what do you say? Do we have a solution to solve these challenges? Or I should put it this way, do we have the mechanisms to tackle these challenges?
Definitely, Manik. So, from the last year, we are already investing into AEM guides and Adobe Workfront integration, which are going to solve most of the problem that you are listing here for the project manager and the document professional. So, the integration would help you ease the work for each party, and you will have a better solution around it.
Yeah, thanks, Vinod. So that's exactly what this integration between AEM guides and Adobe Workfront would do. So basically, it would be driving project success through the integrated workflows. So as you can see in this diagram, now the project managers and document professionals would be collaborating among each other using the AEM guides and the Workfront integration, and they'll not have to rely on non-integrated tools, which I talked about in the previous slide. So you can see that Workfront lies in between the communication between the project managers and document professionals, and similarly Workfront again lies between the communication between the document professionals also. So that is what the gist of this AEM guides and Adobe Workfront integration is, and we would be moving to the integration details, and I'll be handing it over to Vinod now to talk about the integration details and digging deep into what we have built for our customers.
Right. So, thanks, Manik. So, talking about the integration, how the Adobe Workfront and AEM guides integration would happen, this would provide the ability for easier work management. So, the project manager, when they have to plan, allocate, and track the work with their team, they would be able to do that seamlessly. Secondly, we offer end-to-end content lifecycle management. So, the authoring, review, translation, publishing, and other workflows in AEM guide would be able to track via this integration very smoothly. Thirdly, we have the customizable notification. So the project manager or the document professional has the ability to configure alerts as they need in the form of digest or for each task and project appropriately. We have access to robust dashboard where we would be providing the visibility into the progress, priority, and take corrective action as and when required. And lastly, as we discuss the problem of audit trail, we have comprehensive audit trail with this integration. So we would be able to maintain traceability across the task and the project in detail. So no information would be getting missed. And whenever we want to look at how and when things happen, we would be able to trace it later. So having said that, we would be now diving into how this is working, this integration is working. So the proof is in the pudding. Let us look at how the project manager would be starting this journey from Adobe Workfront, and integration would work for him into AEM guides.
As we discussed about different user persona, let us look at what we have to offer to the project manager. A project manager is the one who is owning the delivery of a project and orchestrating the task with his team members and tracking the project to completion. So here I am on the Adobe Workfront homepage where I can see my projects. This section lists all the projects that I own. For the purpose of this demonstration, I have created a project Adobe User Conference 2025. Let us deep dive into it. When I open the project, in the left rail, I can see there are various options. Let us look at the tasks one. The task section lists all the tasks that are created in this project so far, listing the task name, their current assignee, and the approximate completion time. On the top, I can see the project completion stands at 40% and the project condition is on target. The planned completion date stands at March 7, 2025. The project detail section on the left lists the complete detail about the project, like the project description, the project stakeholders, and various other metadata that we want to track for this particular project. As Manik mentioned about the audit trail, let us check the update section. So the update section lists all the comments that are given by different assignee on different tasks, and we can see that in a threaded manner here. So the project manager can reply to a particular thread from this dashboard. This comment would be seen to the original assignee appropriately on the appropriate task. The system activity tab lists all the system activity that are done on various tasks on this particular project. So this acts as the audit trail, which the project manager and the other stakeholders can refer to at a later time. We can now check the workload balancer. So this section is an important section in this overall journey for the project manager, where he can check how his team is performing on different tasks and how the current workload looks like. So if we go to the assigned work section and check Anshul's queue, we are able to see that Anshul would be able to finish all the tasks by 6th of March. If we deep dive into Donald's queue, we can see that his task would get completed by 5th of March, and if required, we can do some load balancing here. The metrics section is the bread and butter for the project manager. He can keep track of all the completed tasks, all the incompleted tasks, and this is one-stop solution where he can see all the pending items, anything which is overdue, and take corrective action appropriately. As we already discussed about the integration that we have done between AEM guides and Adobe Workfront, let us quickly see the demonstration. So the project manager can create a new task from the top, give it a task name, give the description, assign it. Let's say assign it to Vinod Gupta, who is the author on my team. And in the more option, we go to the custom form and select the guides custom form. There we need to specify which task type it is. So let's say it is authoring in this case. We select the authoring task type and create the task. So the task gets created and we can see the task is created here. So with this integration, the project manager need not go anywhere and they would be able to create task and assign it to appropriate people on their team.
Right. So we were able to see how the project manager has access to the dashboard in the Adobe Workfront. They have the ability to plan, allocate, and track the work with their team members and see the complete progress in this dashboard. In the update section, they are able to see the audit trail of the events happening, and they can completely manage their product from Adobe Workfront. Now let us look at, so we created one task for the author. Let us see how the authoring journey would start in AEM guides and how different author can collaborate among themselves for authoring that stuff and moving forward with their tasks.
Let us see what we have to offer for the document professionals. A document professional is the one who is either authoring the content, reviewing the content, or publishing the content. So I am on AEM Guides homepage in the overview section where I can see your task, which lists all the open tasks for the current logged in user. So I can see my project manager has created a task, prepare AEM Guides and Workfront integration session, which lists the description, status as new, and the approximate due time. So let me quickly open this task and start working on it. In the Workfront panel, we can see the task is open. I open the asset and write my content against it. I'm done. Let me save it and mark the task as done. As soon as the task is marked done, I go to home page and see the task is no longer available in my task section. Now let me create one task for one of my peer and I want him to change something on our existing content. So I go to the Workfront section, create new task, select a task type as authoring, select the project, give a task name, a description, a due date, and I assign it to Donald, who is one of my peer. And I assign the asset on which I want the content to be changed. So as soon as I have created the task, I can see the task available in my created by me section. Now let me move to Donald's queue. Here I'm logged in as Donald, and his your task section, we can see the speaker list task which I just created is available. Let us open the task. He can open the asset which is attached to it, change the content appropriately, and mark the task as done. As soon as he will mark the task as done, after preparing the speaker list and go to the overview section, the task is no longer available in his queue. So with this journey, the integration available between Workfront and AEM Guides, a person is able to see all the tasks which are assigned to him right there, and they do not have to move to different work tracking tool to do their work.
Great. So here we were able to see the authoring journey of the document professional. They were able to author their content, the task which they are assigned from the project manager, or they are able to create themselves for their peer. All that is happening and they do not have to move out of AEM Guides. Now let us assume all the content is authored. The future journey of the document professional, which is reviewing, publishing, or translating, how that journey would get accomplished with this integration. Let us deep dive there.
So assume all the content that we want has been authored and we want a review task to be created. We create a review task, give a description, mark a due date, and again assign it to Donald. When creating a review task, we must select the map on which we have authored the complete content. So let me select the map, and this would show all the latest version of all the files there. Let us create the task. So the task gets created. Now if we move to Donald's queue again, we can see the review task is available in Donald's queue. Let us open this task. We are able to see that AEM Guides review interface has opened, where the task is of type review. We have the description and one can start reviewing the content. So he will provide his comments here. So like that, the review comments are provided and he marked the task as done. So the task has been completed. Now if we go to Vinod's queue, we can see the review task is in progress. It has moved to Vinod's queue. If we open it, the task state is authoring. So Vinod has now got the review and he has to implement all the comments given by his peer. So this way the review journey would get completed. Now once the review has happened, we need to publish the data. So let us create a publishing task. Again, assign it to Donald. We need to add the asset. So we again select the map, and we have mentioned that we want to publish a AEM site out of it. So Vinod here has created this task for his peer. When we move to Donald's queue, we are able to see the publish task is available. Donald opens the task, goes and publish the AEM site website, and we can view the data. So that content is published. He can come back. Let's say give a comment, the content has been published, and post it and mark the task as done. So as soon as he do this, the task is no longer available in his queue. Now let us see what the project manager has got. So the project manager opens his project in the Adobe Workfront dashboard. There we can see the speaker list task, the Workfront integration task which were created are completed. The review task is still pending with Vinod, and the publishing task is completed. If we go to the update section, the comment posted by Donald on the publishing task is available here, and the system activity shows how different task has moved. So project manager is able to complete his journey in the Adobe Workfront dashboard, and the document professional are able to complete their journey in AEM Guides interface.
So this way, we have concluded on the journey of both the personas, and they do not have to jump between different systems and do the context switching, the main problem that Manik also highlighted. So this integration would provide individual dashboard to individual persona, and they can manage their work appropriately in those systems.
So thanks a lot for sharing the demo, Vinod, and talking about the details of this integration. So I hope that the users would really love this integration and they would want to try this integration as soon as possible, since this integration is already live on our platform. Now, if I were to summarize the benefits which we have talked about in this session, for the project managers, this integration would ensure that they are able to meet the project deadlines and the timely project delivery is possible. There should be no hiccups and they should not be answerable to the higher management that why their projects got delayed. So it would ensure that the projects don't get delayed, right? So this is one of the primary benefits for the project managers. Second thing is that the project managers would be able to do efficient resource planning, as Vinod had showcased that the complete tracking of the project is possible on Adobe Workfront, and it also offers features like workload balancing. So the project managers would be able to see what is the bandwidth available for the current resources, and they would be able to figure out is there any resource which is over allocated or under allocated, and they can do the right balancing so as to ensure the proper planning of the resources can be done. So that is the secondary benefit which the project managers typically would be getting out of this integration. Third thing, and if we talk about document professionals specifically, is that they would be getting a streamlined task queue for them. So when they would be coming to the AEM Guides platform, they would be seeing all the tasks which they are supposed to do next. Instead of going from one place to another in order to figure out what needs to be done next, they would be getting the list of items which they are supposed to work on. So that is very easy for them to track the work, and they would never be missing things which they are supposed to work next. Then the next thing, which is again very important and which would help users stay focused on the work which they are doing, is that they would be able to remain productive in the tool they prefer, and they would not have to do frequent context switching from one product to the another. So it is especially true for document professionals who can focus on the content creation, content review, content publishing, and at the same time, they can simply just collaborate with their project managers by staying inside AEM Guides, which is the preferred tool for them. So these are some of the benefits which are coming out of this integration, and is definitely going to solve the challenges which we have talked about. And effectively, it is increasing the productivity for the project managers and document professionals. And for the organization, it is improving the return on their investments in this integration, which they would have to do. So that's it from our side today. Thank you for joining and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. We would be open for questions and we can take them. Thank you, everyone.